going on, everyone? Many of you probably are familiar with the Indiana Lakers trade. If you're not, basically, the Indiana Pacers take on the Russell Westbrook contract, which is $47 million. They get him for a year. Then he's an expiring contract, and the Indiana Pacers are a rebuilding team, so they want to rebuild for the future, so the cap space would make a ton of sense. The Lakers end up getting Buddy Hield, who they were supposed to get last year, but decided to take on Westbrook instead. They finally get him to pair with LeBron and Anthony Davis, as well as Brogdon, who is a perfect prototypical point guard next to LeBron James, because LeBron James is going to handle the ball most of the time. Brogdon is a 3-and-D style point guard. He can knock down the outside shot. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. It's the perfect fit for somebody to slot in right next to LeBron James. The only problem is the lack of consistency, given that he's been injured so frequently lately. But this is one of the best trades that the Lakers would likely get for a Russell Westbrook. And the Indiana Pacers unload two long-term, not very good contracts for Russell Westbrook, freeing up the cap space. Lakers, they just need to get rid of Westbrook. They get some pieces, which they do definitely need. They need some depth. They need some players, given the roster that was lined up last year. But what if another team got involved in this upcoming trade, if this were to happen? The Indiana Pacers and the Los Angeles Lakers. What if the Phoenix Suns got involved? Because much like the Lakers want to unload a Russell Westbrook, the Phoenix Suns appear all but done with DeAndre Ayton. Ayton, they haven't extended him. They haven't renewed his contract. Very likely they could match whatever contract he gets, but all signs point to him just being done and it being the last time he ever wearing a Suns jersey. He also quit on the team. There was a bunch of drama going on behind the scenes, and for Game 7 against the Dallas Mavericks, he didn't even play, or he played like 5 minutes, something like that, because he had some, off-the-court issues going on with Monty Williams and a couple of the players. So they likely just want to get rid of him and get him out of the locker room. So what if the Phoenix Suns decided to jump on the Lakers trade in order to give Indiana a center such as Ayton, and then the Phoenix Suns get Myles Turner? Now, the Indiana Pacers have had Myles Turner in trade talks for years now and seem really about trying to unload his contract for whatever reason. I don't know why. I think he's a great center on both ends of the ball. He can shoot the outside shot. He is a very solid shot blocker, things like that. But when they traded Sabonis, well, then you were kind of like, okay, well, you need to keep Myles Turner now. But if they could get a young center to pair with Halliburton, well, then that's perfect, right, for the Indiana Pacers. Not just that, but you take on the Westbrook contract, you unload some bad contracts, and now the Indiana Pacers have 1 year with, you have Westbrook, you have Ayton, and then you have Halliburton that you can sort of play around with, see how it does, and then Westbrook goes away, and now you have $47 million to basically build around your two young stars going forward. I mean, it would be a great position for the Indiana Pacers to get into this. And then as far as the Phoenix Suns, I mean, come on, you're getting rid of a, yes, young asset in DeAndre Ayton, but you're getting on a guy in Myles Turner who is better given what the Suns need than Ayton was. And he's a guy that isn't going to demand touches like Ayton, things like that. He can be the guy that can knock down outside shots. He can be the guy that is in the dunker position and Chris Paul can set him up. But he's a guy down low that can be a serious threat on the defensive end and sort of anchor the Phoenix Suns defense. I think this is a perfect fit. And if it doesn't work, well, then you just let him go because he's a free agent. If he does work and it's a perfect fit, well, then guess what? You re-sign him to a longer deal and you moved off of Ayton, and now you're in this win-win situation. I just think for the Phoenix Suns, no matter how you slice it, it is a great position to be in. And so having these two big men essentially swap teams, I think would be a great position for everybody to be in. And then the reason I would add this into the Laker trade, because you could do this separate, right? The Lakers and the Pacers trade could be one thing, where the Suns and the Pacers trade could be something completely different. But it's very likely that there are going to be other interchangeable parts, draft picks, things like that, because Ayton is a young, up-and-coming, prototypical big man in today's NBA, where Myles Turner, many teams know that they just kind of want to get rid of him, right? And so it is a nice swap. Not just that, but Ayton's contract is likely going to be heavy, so there's going to have to be some interchangeable pieces. So you likely need a third team. Westbrook's contract is so big, you could see multiple parts moving around that's added to this essential core structured trade. Now, whatever those pieces are, I mean, if this was ever to come to fruition, that would be up to them to negotiate and figure out, well, okay, we'll throw in, a Kendrick Nunn, we'll throw in, this player or that player, whatever the case may be, we would see what develops. But essentially at the core, it would just be a big man swap and then Westbrook for Brogdon and Buddy Hield, which both trades I think are very likely because the Phoenix Suns aren't just going to let Ayton walk, I don't believe. I really think that they are going to try to trade him somewhere in a sign and trade to try to recoup some pieces because I just think it would be silly on the Phoenix Suns part just to say, okay, like let's let that problem go, because then it's like, who's going to man the center position? Like you need size, especially looking at the NBA Finals right now. I mean, the Boston Celtics look like monsters compared to the Golden State Warriors because they just have so much size. You have Rob Williams, who is just tormenting the Golden State Warriors right now. And so to get a guy like Myles Turner, if you're the Phoenix Suns, to match up with other big men, you have a lot of big men in the Western Conference that he could easily, body up with, more so than Ayton. He's been in the league a lot longer. He can do a lot more things that Ayton can't do, although Ayton can do some things that Myles Turner can't do. I just think it's a fair win across the board, however you shake it. And then for the Lakers, they're getting on two pieces, plus whatever else. Maybe they get something small from the Suns, something along those lines, giving up draft picks, whatever the interchangeable side pieces are or what they are. But the Lakers end up getting off of Westbrook. That brings in, the two players to build around Anthony Davis and LeBron James. They got a three-point sniper and Buddy Hield. They got the defensive point guard and Malcolm Brogdon, who can knock down threes. And I just think all three teams really benefit from this trade. And I think all three teams kind of get exactly what they need, right? Phoenix needs a new big man, where Myles Turner kind of fits the mold beautifully in what Phoenix tries to do, what Phoenix tries to run. They don't need to force feed him down low to get him post up. He can pick and pop, all of those things, which is really beneficial. He's going to be with an orchestrator like Chris Paul. So Myles Turner is going to have the best time scoring ever. It's going to be the easiest he's ever had it, given the type of playmaker that Chris Paul is. Ayton, he gets to go and be a face of a new franchise and kind of get that fresh start with the Indiana Pacers, which is also a very, historic franchise in the NBA. You got a nice young two-way point guard in Halliburton that can do multiple things. You got Westbrook for a year. We've seen Halliburton being able to play off the ball and things like that. So I think that Westbrook and Halliburton could play together. Now, the shooting would be a little bit of a liability, but you got to understand, the Indiana Pacers, they're not trying to compete for championships right now. Obviously that's the goal for the future, but right now, they're just trying to get the best packages available. They're trying to recoup as much assets as possible. They're trying to do many things to kind of position themselves for the future. And taking on a DeAndre Ayton who's young with plenty of upside that could fit into their system, and now you got these two solid core pieces for your future, I think is a really nice position to be in if you're the Indiana Pacers. So I think no matter how you look at it, I think that this would be a solid trade for all three. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about this trade? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think, yeah, that actually is a really fair trade for all parts? The Indiana Pacers get a nice young center. The Phoenix Suns get a nice veteran center who is still very young, who still is a guy that can be a dominant force when need be. He can block shots. He's been the league leader in block shots for many years, and he's just a solid center for what Phoenix wants to do and what they want to accomplish. Not just that, but I don't think it would take much to go get a Myles Turner. I think, like I said, you could probably do the swap. The Indiana Pacers could throw in something else. I mean, even if the Indiana and Lakers trade doesn't happen, let's say that falls through, you could do a Brogdon and Turner for a Ayton type deal, right? And then now you got Brogdon as a backup point guard who, if he's healthy, is a solid guy, right? And the Phoenix Suns would really benefit from something like that. I might even touch on that type of trade in a later video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on something like that in the comment section. But that being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Follow by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.